Okay, we are recording this, so since Carrie's not here, um, Beth can go back and get the minutes. I understand the first thing we should do is say congratulations to Beth.
Oh, well, thank you.
Congratulations, yes.
She ran, I don't
Thank
know
you.
if you heard, Don, she ran off and got married here last week, 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago,
Two
yeah.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
So anyway, so are you still along well, or are you somebody new?
Officially, my name is Elizabeth Ross.
Okay.
But I haven't gotten everything changed.
Okay. So, but we can still call you. We can still call you Beth, can't we?
Yes, you can.
Oh, okay. Okay. Did I added a couple things to the agenda since I sent it out. One of them yesterday, I sent out an email from Harney County. I put that under new business. And after talking to Jeff on Monday, I don't remember if I had. I think I added one item under the revised Courier procedures and rules. So when we get there, we'll do that. Did you have a chance to look over the May 4th minutes at all to make any comments on that?
I did not look at the minutes.
Okay.
So I'm flying blind.
Oh, well, they are kind of sketchy, this last one. And part of it was Carrie was out of the office on, I think it was a vacation for a week or so. So anyway, since we don't have any reviews of those, let's continue on. We talked about the agenda additions. I have on my screen, if I can get it to you, I sent you all an updated one just a few minutes ago of the Courier procedures. And Carrie, you could, I'm sorry?
No, I was just going to say I did receive it.
Okay. So. Anyway, one of Carrie's concerns was on page 2, under packaging, it talks about for couriers use a separate bag for each destination site. And her concern was that would be misinterpreted as being a hub as opposed to a library. And so...
Oh, you mean drop site as opposed to destination?
Yes.
Or, yeah.
The way that it's written. And so she was suggesting that use a green bag for each destination, comma, not drop site. Or maybe not hub.
It's actually kind of confusing.
Yeah, there might be a way to...
Could we say for each final destination site?
We could do that. Whoops, sorry about that. Hopefully I don't guys get you too dizzy as I'm wheeling back and forth. For each final destination like that.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, I mean, we mark them drop site and destination on the slip when we have the labels.
Yeah.
But the final destination kind of makes them think a little bit more about, you know, drop site versus destination, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and when we're sending, a lot of times I'll have 2 books going to one drop site but 2 different locations.
Yeah.
And it's easier to put them in one bag, even if there's one bag inside of another bag.
When you say that,
they also ship better.
Yeah.
And I'll say mixed on the outside, but each bag is inside is labeled separately.
Give me an example.
Okay, I'm sending stuff to Intermountain ESD.
Okay.
I have one package for Hermiston. I have maybe one book for Pendleton.
Okay.
And what I might do is I'll send it and in a bag that says mixed and have the 2 bags inside of a bag, just because then those individual items ship and don't shift.
Okay.
That doesn't make sense to you, but to me,
No,
it's
it does.
packed.
It does because, 2 weeks out of the year, I am the courier. I work out of the hub here in Pendleton, and I do. So I understand what you're talking about because I do the actual distribution out of the hub to the 12 libraries in Umatilla County and the 3 in Morrow County. So I understand that.
But if you don't want us to do it that way, we can.
It's
just having enough packing material.
Yeah.
Because we really pack books well here.
Yeah.
We really do.
It's
science.
No, I pack courier crates. I know about it being a science. So, the only concern that I have, having worked at the hub, is it slows things down a little bit. In that, when it comes in mixed, you have to take that extra, instead of just sorting it, you have to take that extra minute or 2 to open it up and then sort them from there.
Yeah, I understand, because now that we're getting Paisley and Silver Lake and Christmas Valley books here, we do have to look, and unfortunately, like if they come from Hood River, generally it says mixed, and that means they're just loose books in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing separated. You have to look at every single book to see where it's going.
Well, that means that there's some training that needs to occur at Hood River for clarification on procedures.
Yes.
So how do we do that, Jeff? Who's responsible?
How do we what?
How do we do that training? Is that something we're responsible for? Is that something we're responsible to let Buzzy know about?
Sometimes we handle that kind of training at site visits, depending on the timing. I was hoping that after we updated this document, that we could encourage everybody to read through and, look at their own courier procedures and make sure that they aligned with this document. It would be kind of a training in a sense, because we've published a new document and we're asking them to review it. And then after that, if we still see issues, my guess is that we'll have to send individual emails to, sites.
Okay. Okay, well, let's continue on here. Breakables, she didn't have any comments about that. She did have a question about when stuff is sent to a click and ship or otherwise service served by the post office, whether this was properly worded.
So items being sent to libraries served by USPS are sent to EOU via courier. EOU then repackages and mails to the stamps.com or click and ship destination. Well, it makes sense to me, but that's because that's what we do.
Well, she was just, asked to have it reviewed, because basically what you just said is what I told her, and from a procedural thing, who do we have that's click and ship? Just give me one library, or we ship through the
Crane Union.
Crane Union, okay.
And Klamath Falls Community College.
Okay,
I'd like to switch Klamath over to stamps.com, but yeah, that's a separate issue.
Crane, let's use Crane High School, and they request something from Carrie and Athena. Carrie sends it via courier to Jeff.
Right.
Jeff then sends it through the post office, whether it's click and ship, whether it's stamps.com, to Crane.
Correct.
Okay. Then Crane, which we didn't address that I saw here, is Crane then returns the book directly to Athena using whichever.
They can, yeah.
You know, is that what we
want?
want?
That's the quickest method, and it doesn't cost any
There's no additional cost.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to add that here?
You know, I don't think it would hurt because we could say USPS sites can mail materials back directly to the owning library.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that was the phrase that was going through my mind, was something along those lines. So
we'll say it once again,
Beth and I agree on that. There we go.
USPS sites can mail materials back directly to the owning library.
Okay. Let's reverse that. Let's say that Carrie and Athena has requested something from Crane. Does Crane mail it directly to Carrie, and then Carrie return it to Jeff to return to Crane?
Yes, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I want to make a correction on the statement that we just added.
Okay.
Rather than USPS sites can mail, let's put should mail.
Yeah.
I'm going, whoops. Everybody's waiting with bated breath to see if he knows how to spell requesting. Do you think we should put something in like that, the owning or requesting library?
Yeah, I think that's totally fine. Yeah.
So that there's not a confusion there.
Right, and you know, there'll be these odd situations where a different hold may pop up.
Yeah.
And it will go to a different library before it goes back to its owning library. So.
Okay. On the next one, we didn't catch it until today when I was talking to Carrie. We need to change the Baker EOU LeGrand Public, and it's not Umatilla Moro anymore. It's Intermountain. It's just a housekeeping thing.
Oh, yeah.
And Carrie had asked, that was something I caught, Carrie asked whether we should move this section down under the local information section.
Okay, I guess I'm trying to figure out what this section is.
Oh, here, let me, there's a page break, so I'm not sure if I can get it all on one.
So is this all the Orbis Cascade sites?
No, it's just a local agreement that here, at least in Pendleton and Hermiston, LeGrand, we've got special handling that we do, and instead of running it through the Orbis Cascade courier to Portland to be sorted and sent back, we've got a special tub or tubs that we just run between here and LeGrand and Baker. Is that right, Jeff?
Yes, I think that's accurate.
Okay, and that's because of the courier driver we have.
Yes.
If we didn't, okay. So it's a special thing they're doing.
Yeah.
All right. All right, that makes sense then.
So should we leave it here? Should we move it? Because it goes on. There's some stuff stuff here that let me do this here a little bit. Maybe this will help. Let's go back up here. Where'd we go? Down. Hopefully you guys aren't getting too busy trying to keep up with me. This is a regional thing almost, a semi-local way that we handle it. But some of this is, you know, the packages talking about the standard library courier labels, regardless of where they're going. And I don't know, at least I don't know how much Wallowa County.
Yeah, we're asking everybody to use the standard Orbis Cascade type label, and that's why we posted them on the website. Just to have that consistency, even if it's local.
Yeah, and I think here,
of course, I don't do that when I'm sending something to Wallowa or Elgin. We have a little blank label thing that I think Beth had created that it doesn't utilize the Orbis Cascade.
Oh, that's what I meant. But it's in that same format as the Orbis Cascade label, Jeff?
No, it's not. It's one that just has a attention field, a from field, and a to field in it, and it's not.
Oh,
it doesn't have EOU 30 or any of that stuff. It's just
oh, okay.
You know, I think here for us, here in Umatilla County and in Morrow County, we've got everybody trained that they use. If it's going to stay in the county, they use a 74. And
right.
whether it's going from Athena to Weston, which is just the next courier stop, or whether it's going from Milton Freewater to the Ukiah, you know, it always, you know, everybody uses the same label, so, you know, and
yeah, there for a while you guys were using a different color to make that stand out, weren't you?
Yeah, and they still do.
It's not still happen.
Yeah, they're still doing it. And I forget if green is supposed to leave and red is supposed to stay, or if it's the other way around. And
okay.
So, but yeah, there is, but that's just in-house. The label's the same, you know.
Yeah.
It's just the color is different, and so.
I think as much as possible we want to use the labels with the you know, Orbis Cascade drop site numbers on them.
Yeah. We'll give
just
Jeff,
for consistency's sake.
And we'll give Jeff special dispensation.
Or I can just, you know, since my interlibrary loan assistant has retired, I can train my students, since I'll have student help replacing her as best they can.
Yeah, and we can just print a bunch of those out. I mean, it's just the EOU one, and then you could just write in the destination. So yeah.
Continuing on.
Not a big deal, just nice.
Yeah. The next one talks about the orange crates, where white is the new orange, and Carrie suggested that boxes should be packed for one destination instead of preferably. And the context of this, I'm not sure if that's at the hub level. It must be.
Well, I know that we receive boxes from TVCC that will have a label on it that says mixed, and then inside will be materials for returning home to their various libraries or being sent from the TVCC hub out. And I guess they do things a little differently down there. Beth has a better handle on that, but it sounds like TVCC gets materials from like Vail and Ontario Public and those other entities down there, the destinations, and they repackage everything at their hubs and then sends it out.
What happens is that the stuff comes loose to TVCC, and they do all the packaging. I think it's just been that way historically because they felt like I think it was kind of a control, not really control, but they wanted to make sure that the packaging was right and it was consistent, and so they just felt like it was better for them to do it all since they were the hub. You know, I personally, I don't think there would be an issue with training all of the individual libraries to use the green bags.
It seems to me to be a bit inefficient.
I think it is, and it also puts a lot of responsibility on TVCC, who's already busy.
Yeah.
But I think a discussion for a future day.
Okay.
But because of the way that happens, I think that there's just a lot more mixed boxes with TVCC than we may see from other sites.
Okay. Oh, let's continue on here. I think okay. This was a question that I was talked to Jeff on Monday about. If there's a Courier problem at the local level, here in Umatilla County, they talk to me or Marcia to try to reconcile any problems. But if there's a drop site problem, who do we talk to about that? Is that you, Beth?
Well, if it's an Orbis Cascade drop site, sorry, my mic was up. If it's an Orbis Cascade drop site, I think that and it's like a Senvoy issue, then they're supposed to fill out a complaint form. If it's not related to the courier delivery, then I guess it would be me. Like, okay. I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example of, just an issue that they're having with, okay, maybe the boxes aren't adequate, or they're wanting to look at, somebody sent an email to me asking about bigger DVD boxes. So I have to research and possibly buy.
If there was, okay, because I know if we've got a hub problem here,
yeah,
and it's not a Senvoy issue related, I'll just pick up the phone and I'll call Fred,
right.
locally, and because we've got a good working relationship, that takes care of, and we've had a couple issues here recently that I talked to him about, and hopefully he's frustrated with them, so anyway, in his case, one of them was just a training issue for one of his drivers.
Okay.
So locally I know what to do here, but at the other hubs, I think probably the way I have it is just, well, if it's a Senvoy issue, to use the Orbis online form,
Yeah.
if there are other issues, to contact you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be good.
Okay. That's what we'll do there. The this next paragraph section where it says removable book labels, Carrie suggested that we change it from if you wish to you may customize your label, but your library name, email address, and phone number must be included.
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay. The others are just links here. There were this stuff here was cut and pasted at some time in the past from the Orbis Cascade website. And they have some broken pictures. You can go there.
Yeah, I could not locate any. I didn't have any hidden in any of my instructions that I had downloaded or copied from the website. So I do recall I can actually visualize a couple of those pictures showing how books were to be placed inside a bag, meaning being put spine to spine rather than the open face to the open face, so that when they got
spine to open face.
When they got so when they got tossed around, they didn't smush into the pages and wrinkle them all up.
Okay. Yeah, and that's, I don't know if when you link, if you link to the packed books, see if I can do it here.
Yeah, I feel like the text is, I can picture it just by looking at the way that the text is phrased.
Yeah, and this takes you to,
yeah, go ahead.
This is what you get when you, I don't know, can you see it? I linked over to the Orbis Cascade site. Can you see it?
No, I still see your packaging guidelines.
Okay, let's see if
see if we're getting closer here.
Let's do that. Did that work?
Oh, now you can see it.
Yeah, but this is the old website, and I was looking on the new website. See, they've got some pictures, and but the spine-to-spine ones and some of these others, the links are
disappeared.
Broken. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if we want to, as we're working with that, wanted to correct that, ask them if there's, I was looking on the new website and I didn't see anything, I guess is the bottom line.
Yeah, there is some instructions that have been put on the new site for packaging, but it's just all text-based. There's no images included. At least it seemed like it was the new version of it that it was just minus the illustrations.
Oh, okay. So we've got some illustrations there for that. There's several of these links that have those links to the same spot. So the other thing, Carrie,
someone could always just do hand drawing and a little stick man and these little boats being shoved in. Yeah, I'm sure that would work great.
Yeah, I'm sure it will too. Carrie, under fastening and sealing, it talks about using heavy-duty packaging tape or package staplers. Initially, it said do not use a desktop stapler. Well, she suggested that we elaborate just a little bit, and it's for safety reasons, that not to use a desk top stapler.
Yeah. My fingers are much happier without those staples.
Yeah, and I think, that was that one. I think we'll leave that one then. Again, this was just cut and pasted. She suggested here under finish and send, I think what confused her a little bit was the add packing as necessary of putting multiple packages. Oh, that's what it was. Put multiple packages to the same place in a large courier box or bag. And you know,
which we in other areas we've kind of gone, oh, do we really want to do that? And
yeah, and that was her issue too. Is do we want to leave that there?
well, I think it was addressed earlier. Somewhat. We were talking about the something about the boxes, and so whether if we leave it there, whether it contradicts something previously stated.
Yeah, I think we'll just cut this. Let's see here, yeah. And then the rest of it, this is just a broken link, or not a broken link, and then we've got the website and stuff. So I think what we'll do, let me save this, is we'll save that, and I will clean it up, and I'll send it out. And unless I hear that there's some major stuff that needs to, I think it'll be ready for publishing.
Yeah. So what do we do for Claire? Because it sounds like she, her standard practices would involve, something like it sounded like even levels above what we normally do.
Well, we talked. I talked briefly with, again, Carrie brought that subject up too. Was we were talking about it, and what these are minimum standards. It's quite obvious that we're not going to take a DVD and put it in just a regular put in the mail type envelope and send it out in the system.
Right.
And I think the fact that we have purchased DVD boxes shows that we are concerned about it, and that Carrie's concern was the amount of supplies that would need to be on hand and the waste associated with that to bring it up.
Like my back room.
But how protected is protected enough?
Yeah, I was having the same questions and concerns that it seemed a little bit overboard. I understand that there's times when things get handled roughly. I get that. But I guess what I'm wondering is are we really seeing, damaged books on a regular basis through the Courier to warrant the need for extra packaging even for books? I guess I haven't heard about it or seen it to the degree that we have for media.
Yeah.
Right. Which is, that was the driving force behind the boxes that were purchased. Was there was a growing realization that the fragile media needed a little bit extra care taken in terms of being packaged in more solid stuff. And what Claire seems to be pushing for is almost beyond, what can be reasonably managed, especially on, some of these are very, I don't know, I'm starting to ramble. I'll shut up right now.
No, that's my job, is to shut up. The question that I had, one of the questions I had when I was talking to Carrie this morning was, is this an isolated incident in Harney County? Or
I
is
don't
this
think so.
broader than that? And if it's only isolated to Harney County, is it a Senvoy issue?
What I have noticed is that books that come in a book in a single zip bag, if it's a big book, will often open up in the bag. And what I usually do if I'm sending a single book is I at least wrap a piece of paper and tape it so that the book doesn't open in transit.
Oh, I guess I've never seen that.
Yeah.
I do it all the time.
Are you saying like a big book has been placed in one of the large green bags as opposed to a small green bag, or it's just the fact that it's being...
Sometimes we get stuff like in large green bags, and they tend to interweave amongst each other because they're not spine to spine. Like if I put a bunch of books in a large green bag, I'm going to put them spine to spine in both directions.
So it is possible that this issue is related to improper. It's not necessarily that they need to be,
extra
each
protection.
individual item put in bubble wrap. It just needs to be, the items need to be placed in correctly.
I think it's being placed incorrectly, and sometimes there's too much room for things to move around. And when you're transferring from, drop site to drop site, I think they get more chickled. And the main thing has been when books interweave with each other in the package, or there's only one in them and it's small and it somehow either opens up or the spine gets too much pressure on it because there's too many different size bags packed on top of each other.
Okay, for a guy who doesn't work in an actual branch, I'm going to ask a naive question, and it's partly back to something that Dawn had said, how she wraps, if she has a single book, she wraps a piece of paper around it. Would a rubber band serve the same function?
I use rubber bands too.
Okay. Okay. So since we're talking about this and we're currently working on policies and procedures, is this something that maybe we should incorporate into the policies and procedures, that if you're sending one book by itself, to put a rubber band or put a piece of paper around it to protect it?
Yeah, and I'm not even sure if we need to necessarily put that the limiter of if it's just an item, like one item in a bag.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a way to put it so that yeah, whether we want to do something that's based on the judgment call of the packaging people, or whether we want to do something that is just a standard do this.
Yeah.
No, I think you want to do something about more like ensure that item cannot open in package or something, just, I don't know how you do that. Because some books fit just fine. Just one book in a bag is just fine because of the size.
Yeah.
And others, too, is ideal because it just...
Right. And, Eastern has a slightly, because we only send out like one or two of our own items, and we only receive a couple items a month. We're primarily just a hub, so we're not necessarily opening boxes or bags to see what's inside or putting things in bags. We're just transferring bags from one tote or tub to another. So we're not seeing, we're not necessarily seeing the issues that are being described because they're all hidden inside the bags.
Yeah, and that's, I've as having played the hub, you just look at the number or the library and you put it in the appropriate container.
I'm glad you didn't say just toss it.
Well, it's not that it didn't cross my mind.
No, no.
How about materials won't open or won't shift or something?
Yeah, so I guess that is something, or at least some eloquent phrasing regarding the integrity of the material and whether it, you know, it being packaged in such a way that it is less likely to experience motion damage or courier transit damage, or I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sure there's some way to say it, but that's not.
How about this? Something like that.
Sure, materials will be protected during transit to reduce the possible damage.
Yeah, I don't think you need the word the.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I
To
was
reduce
changing.
possible damage, yeah.
I was changing thought process about there.
Yeah. No, I think this is better.
And you could put like e.g. Rubber bands around books to keep them closed or something like that.
Now, I think Claire talked about extra packaging like bubble wrap.
Yeah, but
What was that, Don?
I guess
there's only so much, but there's only so much bubble wrap, and sometimes you just don't have any.
Well, that's just it, and I know she was upset about not getting her special packaging materials back. I think that's a challenge for sites, you know, if they're not consistently doing that with everybody else's packages, you know, remembering to, okay, if I send it to Harney County, I've got to send it back in the same, you know, package they sent me.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you only get a few things, that's easier
Well, you know,
to keep track of.
Okay, here's a guy
But I
who's...
don't get packaging material back either, so.
And
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we're all in that same boat.
what's happening to it?
Well,
It's probably
I mean,
being used for a different package that same day, or
yeah.
And eventually it does wear out.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But
if it's available because it's just arrived and you're packing something to send to someone else, you know, you're not going to set this, you know, the special Harney County packaging shelf aside. You know, you're just going to use it.
Yeah. Well, again, in some of this stuff, I tend to be naive, and I readily admit that. But to me, it seems like if it should all have an equilibrium, you send it out, you send one out, you should get it back.
Well,
And again,
not everybody's going to be padding their green courier bags with bubble wrap.
Well, I'm just talking
especially
DVD.
If they're...
Yeah, well, I understand that. That I don't have an issue with. You know,
yeah.
It's the DVD boxes. You know, if you
sure, yeah.
You know, there should be an equal.
That's why we have extras of those.
Yeah.
Or at least we should.
Beth?
I have plenty, by the way.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, if any consolation, I don't need any.
Yes.
Okay.
Beth, can you respond to Claire?
I can. I just wanted to get the sense of the rest of the group, and
because I think some of the issues she raised are valid.
Mm-hmm. But I think
And
if we have everyone following best practices as we clarify them, the issue will probably
correct
at
itself.
least somewhat be alleviated, if not resolved.
Yeah.
Yeah, my concern is, though, is that Claire wants everybody else to use bubble wrap in their...
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking that some of her concerns about damage and those kind of things, are valid. Having
Mm-hmm.
having said that, on the other hand, you know, um, back to Jeff's best practices. If we do use best practices, um, that should greatly reduce issues. You know, um, I don't. I'm thinking that the the to use a business term, the cost benefit ratio
Yeah,
isn't there.
right.
And again, if they're having a major problem in Harney County, where the rest of Sage doesn't have that issue, then it raises, is there a Senboy issue?
Yeah, yeah. And I think because Claire's had some experience in the shipping world, I think there's also, she's trying to be proactive
Yeah,
because she knows how packages can be tossed and not handled as gently as we might like.
yeah,
So that's, I think, part of it too. And there was a time when Sage ordered a bunch of bubble wrap envelopes and they were used inside the bags. But I felt like that was before we, thought about doing the boxes.
yeah.
Um,
Well, if you would draft a response and,
okay.
if you would do that,
And then send it by you guys.
yeah, and let us review
Okay.
it. And then when you send it out, send it to the Courier committee too, so that we know when it's sent out and what the ultimate response is.
Okay.
So,
All right, that sounds good.
okay. Let's see here. Let's back up here. We've got 9 minutes and 55 seconds left before noon. The Sage list, or the Sage Circ list transfer status, how's that going?
Oh, it slipped my mind. All right.
You run
Something
off
for
and
the...
get married and you forget everything you remembered.
I know. All right. So I need to send out an email.
Okay.
So that people can start using that instead of the main
Okay.
Sage lib listserv. Okay.
And just as a side, is that going to create any issues with the Circ side?
I don't think so because I don't think they've been using it actively.
Okay.
I'll look at the emails Brent's been sending out for the CERT committee, but I think he's been sending those out to the general listserv.
That's what it looks like from what I've seen.
Yeah. So I don't think there'll be an issue.
Okay, and then there's one last thing under new business that I have. I got an email from Willamette University last week or 2 weeks, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. And they had been getting stuff that was sent to Lake County because the 3 on the Lake County had been cut off when they had a particular library or when the library had run it through their copy machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because with the PDF document, you have to shrink you have to go in when you turn on printing, you change it to either fit or, I'm trying to remember the terminology that it showed. Because if you leave it unmodified, it cuts off the outside edges.
Yeah. Anyway, we were able, in this particular case, it was coming from us, and I was able to identify the library that was sending the material out, and that director is going to take care of the issue. Either she figures what happened was there had been so many had been copied for so many times that over the generations that it just, got out. I had noticed that last December or March when I was out delivering, that stuff would come in and it would say Lake County 8 and you couldn't tell what the last number was. So this particular director asked me to send Willamette a message saying, if you've got this problem in the future, just contact her directly. So I think that, but that's one thing that as we do our training, is just remind people that make sure that if it's a 2-digit number, that both numbers are readable, so that we don't have delays where stuff for Lake County ends up in Willamette. So,
okay.
Right.
We appreciate that.
So anyway, I'm looking at the next meeting should be September 7th. It's the first Wednesday in September, and it'll be the week before Roundup here, which will be good because I'm going to try my hardest to be on vacation the Roundup week and get out of town. We'll see if it works.
Yeah.
Is there anything else before we say goodbye that we should touch base with?
I guess because I got that email, are others needing bigger DVD boxes? Have you heard anything?
I have not heard anything, and that's one thing that I haven't done a good job of, is just communicating with, once we get the list, the Sage Circ list served up.
Yeah.
Just after these meetings, or like the Lake County issue and Willamette, just to send out a quick reminder.
Okay.
And use that to do some communicating with the folks who deal directly with the Courier, and if they've got a director, who's ever on our list, so that instead of waiting for these kind of meetings and then continuing, around
potential issues.
Yeah. And so once we can do that, I would like to do a better job of just communicating, with those folks out there who do deal with the Courier stuff.
Okay. So I can bring up the question at that point. All right. Yeah, Don?
Yeah. There are just a few DVDs that don't fit in the regular boxes, and I just put them, sometimes I put them in one of the audio boxes if I don't have extra audio boxes, and then I just put them in cardboard.
Okay.
Because we stockpile our cardboard for recycling, and I always top the end tabs off, and I use those for wrapping all the time.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's hard to know what kind of quantity to look at and how many we would need to have at each site to,
It gets complicated because then you put the wrong thing in the wrong size, but if you do put an oversized DVD in the regular size box, it ruins the box.
It does. It kind of stretches it out of shape, and there's even some single DVD boxes that DVD cases that are a little bit big just because of the manufacturing of how they did the case. Okay. Well, I'll look and see if I can find something and look at pricing.
Yeah, I know that Orbis Cascade, one of the batches of DVD boxes they purchased, had the packaging had some built-in flexibility, like multiple perforation lines on the sides, so that they could close and open at different levels of thickness. And then they also had, those are the ones that have Velcro fastening.
Yeah.
So if you ever make it up this way, I could show it to you.
Where are you today, Beth? Are you in Boise? Are you in LeGrand?
I'm in Burley, Idaho.
Oh, okay.
My husband's house sold on the 20th of July. No, sorry, 20th of June, and we have until the 30th to get the first floor. He's selling it to his son and family. So I've been working long distance and packing the past 10 days, but I will be in La Grande tomorrow.
Okay.
Because it turns out they need my office, and so I will be packing up my office and moving it to my home.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff has plenty of room in his storage room in addition to all that.
Oh yeah.
Well, Jeff may get to house all of the extra boxes. We'll talk about that when I get there tomorrow, Jeff.
Yeah, I did find a way to ship the new audiobook boxes out when people request them. All I do is I fold the lid down, put one of the audiobook labels on it, and I can fit 8 of those into a large bag.
Oh,
and
good job.
Then, so it's up to the libraries I'm sending them to build the
fold the rest of the way.
Boxes.
Build them. Did you send some to Lakeview?
Did you hear that, Jeff?
Yeah.
I missed part of it.
Could you send some audio boxes to Lakeview?
Yes, I think I could manage that. Yeah, when you're here tomorrow, Beth, I'll need to probably get the template and some of the labels for the audio, for those different boxes to put the our little Sage label on it.
Yes. In fact, that was one of the things I was going to do is just print out. I bought some more labels at Walmart, so just print out a bunch of them so that they're ready to go. And once we've got all the boxes labeled, then we're good.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, Lake County wants some audiobook boxes. I will put that down on my list. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, being that there's no other news or no other thing to talk about, my clock on the wall says it's 11:59 and 44, 45, 46 seconds. So we're done by noon again, which is a good thing.
Sounds good.
It's a very good.
Yeah, I will send a reminder out for the September meeting. Beth, if you could set it up for the 7th of September. And then when that gets...
All right, 11 a.m.?
Yeah, and then I will send out notifications beforehand like I did this time. So...
All right, sounds good.
That being it, I assume that all I do is hit the red button on the stop recording and we're done. Is there any other instructions that I need to know about that?
When you do stop the recording, it's going to, it'll bring up a dialog box about processing the file. So yeah, you just follow that. It'll end up saving it somewhere on your computer, and if you just send that file to me, I will get it posted